We are live, and I'm coming at you live. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode on my channel, GBoo2786. This is Gavin Richard Presents. I'm Gavin Richard. Thank you all for our new subscribers, those that support the channel, that come on here. Thank you again. Special shout out to I always shout her out, Sister Nicole with Nicole's View. This coming, not this week, but on August 12th, as most of you know, there is going to be, it's my understanding, the appeals case for Bill Cosby that is set on August 12th at 9 a.m. I'm trying to see what date that is. And if you are out there, or if you can get out there, the 12th is a Monday, you should all go and support Dr. Cosby and go look at the case yourself. Go be out there, because I'm sure there are going to be protesters out there who are going to try to keep him in jail. And of course, there's stuff that we've seen on Facebook about this. It's very interesting how so many people have an interest in an 82-year-old man and whether he stays in jail or not, but are not even interested in voting, or not even interested in what goes on in their neighborhood. So I find that intriguing. But, go there and witness the justice system at work in the appeals process. See what happens, because I know that many of the things that we have talked about on my channel, that Nicole has talked about on her channel, and Brother Drew Story News and Ron Hurd, we've always been trying to get to the bottom of things like this and how media manipulation takes its place with everything, and trying to get the American people to feel a certain way or indoctrinated on certain viewpoints. And that's what we deal with here. Now, what I was going to talk about in my video today, which I'm talking with you live now, is that earlier I was reading, and I had to see this to be true and do my research, and it is. I'm going to be very careful with my language and what I'm saying here. I'm not even going to look at this from a religious standpoint. I'm not looking at it from a moral standpoint either, but I am looking at it as a socio-political standpoint, and in relation to how many other groups, in particular in this case, the homosexual crowd, the agenda gets pushed before anything dealing with blacks gets pushed. We've seen the Japanese community here in the United States that were affected by concentration camps during World War II. They received billions of dollars in reparations, even under a racist-ass president like Ronald Reagan. We know of Jewish community groups that President Obama even approved that they should get monies because, of course, many American companies, believe it or not, participated in the Holocaust, including up to a senator by the name of Prescott Bush, who was the grandfather of George W. Bush, who was the 43rd president of the United States. And of course, he was the father of George Herbert Walker Bush. And he was a state senator, but he was also involved in banking. There were issues with ties to the Nazis. To him, you can go and look at that information online. It's available. It's also public record. This happened in the 40s. So they approved. Now, I'm not talking specifically for that bank, whether that was approved for reparations, but it has been done in the past. And of course, even got special needs, special services, monies that the Obama administration had put out there for them. And today, ladies and gentlemen, my brothers and sisters, on July 25th, I found out about this actually yesterday, the House of Representatives, the House in Congress, passed what is called the Pride Act, which stands for Promoting Respect for Individuals, Dignity, and Equality Act. But of course, that doesn't apply to black people, but this is for the homosexual groups. They passed it unanimously. the House is made up of mostly Democrats, on Wednesday, July 25th, 2019. And Republican and Donald Trump has had basically a mixed bag with regards to the LGBT groups. Of course, he openly supported them at one point, but then once he got in office, we know that he started rescinding many of Obama's radical orders, such as allowing, cross-dressers in the military and transgenders. And the president, of course, Trump, 45, has removed all of that. And even the Supreme Court, I believe, upheld his decision to do that. So, nevertheless, this is what was reported, and you can look in the description on LifeSite News. Now, the Pride Act, I'm quoting here, removes sex-specific terms such as husband and wife from the federal tax code and allows couples, quote-unquote, married, while the Defense of Marriage Act, which protected states and the federal government from having to recognize same-sex marriages from states that choose to recognize them, to claim tax refunds for which they were ineligible. Now, this stems from the fact that the Supreme Court in 2013 struck down the Defense of Marriage Act as unconstitutional. And the Washington Blade reported that the Joint Committee on Taxation put the estimated amount the feds could have to pay out if the bill becomes law at $67 million. Now, it goes further stating that lawmakers, when this act was passed, the House on Wednesday by voice vote, by allocation, they were not required to put a vote on the record. Now, what's interesting here is that there was no resistance from the Republican Party, according to this article. And the Hill noted that New York GOP Representative Tom Reed expressed a technical concern about the legislation, but supported its core purpose to make sure our tax code is reflective on the law of the land as it has been declared by the Supreme Court. In passing the Pride Act, Democrats are honoring our diversity and providing long overdue justice to countless same-sex couples across the country who have been denied critical tax refunds because of who they are and who they love. Democratic House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, can't stand her, declared on CNN. Well, CNN reported, excuse me. Now, Elizabeth Warren, who's running for president and is a senator, is trying to pass a similar counterpart to that bill. Now, what they don't mention, and this goes further from a Fox News contributor, although you may not like this person, and she's gay, is Tammy Bruce. What Ms. Warren doesn't mention to people is the IRS already allows everyone to amend the last 3 years of returns. Instead, she wants couples to be able to amend their tax returns for the entire time they were married in one of the 10 states allowing gay marriage prior to Bill Clinton was president. He was the one that signed the Defense of Marriage Act, which stated that marriage was between a man and a woman, and the federal government and states themselves could establish that. They did not have to recognize same-sex marriage. Now, my problem with this is that if this is being made legal, then what happens to all the interracial couples that weren't allowed to get married before Loving versus Virginia? Shouldn't they have a chance to amend their bills? Since you want to compare gay to being black, because I hear that shit all the time, what happens to them? Can they file for an amendment? Shouldn't they be able to, since you've changed the rules for one group and not in the other? Or what about us as black people? Because remember, there was a time during slavery, a lot of people may or may not remember this, but there was a time during slavery where slaves were not allowed to get married. And yet, the Democratic Party, who wants you not to vote for Trump, who wants you to stay with them and stay happy and pass all of this shit, these are the same people. Wait, these are the same people. Let's get on it now. When we've heard Bernie Sanders, we got to call him out. We got to call out Elizabeth Warren, and we damn sure got to call out the Congressional Black Caucus, because those Caucasoids and these Negroes did not want to even think about even doing a study on House Bill 40, which we talked about reparations, that John Conyers was the author of. You can't even get them to do this. They didn't do a study for this. They didn't even do a study on this. How does this affect the American people? And there's the kicker. $67 million that they're going to be able to claim in tax returns. But you can't claim anything for all the bigotry. And think about that.
So hopefully I'm gonna see back.
Excuse me. Yeah, Mike?
Yeah, what's going on, man?
Hey, let me give you a call right back. I'm doing a live video.
All right, no problem.
All right, thanks.
All right,
bye. Y'all say hi to Mike. No, where was I? Yeah, so think about that for a second. Black people, for the 400 years that we lived in this country, were never able to vote, were never able to go and own land because of racism and violence that was perpetrated by the Ku Klux Klan. Had to deal with Jim Crow laws for years. And all the while they're renting out their homes, or they even building a home, when they weren't able to vote, they were being taxed. And of course, when you look at the American Revolution, it started because of taxation without representation by King George in England. And that's why the colonists were so upset about it. And a war started. And the war led to the freedom and revolution of a people. All the while, African Americans were not considered people in this country. But we damn sure built it. We damn sure participated in every major war. But I want you all, because it's election time, to think about this and what has happened. Thank you, brother Tink Tank. Think Tank, excuse me, Tink Tank. my mouth's dry. Brother Think Tank, thank you. I want you all to think about this. They did this without a study and amended a tax code that allows these gay couples to actually get reparations. You know, you say what you want about Dr. Umar Johnson, but I remember when he made a comment while he was doing a lecture, and he stated to this girl who was black, but she was also identified, I guess, as LGBTQ and I, or whatever the initials are. And she stated that he's told her that the reason why there's so much focus now on the LGBT movement was that it's being pushed, and it's being pushed to take over the black civil rights struggle. No, Squeaky G, it is true. Now, more than likely, it's not going to pass through the Senate because it's predominantly Republican, although we do have log cabin Republicans, but it still would have to go to the desk of Donald Trump, and he may very well veto it, because a lot of gays and LGBTQ and transgender community are upset with him over this policies that he's reversed with Obama. Because remember, Barack Obama was the one. We got to call out the beloved president out, and I know y'all don't like that. I don't like that. You know, it reminds me of these people when I'm in court, these mothers who cry over their kids that kill somebody and call them my baby, my baby. When you're in a courtroom, your baby steals your child. These kids get caught robbing someone and then shooting them in the back of the head, killing them. And then yet you want to complain about the system, but don't look at your kid for what he did. Oh, my baby is this. You make up every excuse. Your baby took somebody's life. Your baby robbed the store. He's got to live with the consequences. And right now, Barack Obama, he's got to deal with the consequences. We got to call him out. Just because somebody is black don't mean they're going to look out for your interest. And we told the world, we told the American people, all President Obama had to do was just smile and get on the cover of Essence magazine. and do a little dancing in the White House. We got nothing, no laws have been passed substantially that impact our community. I'm not talking about My Brother's Keeper, which is a minority initiative. And there were issues with that when that started. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about having Aretha Franklin sing, God bless her soul, sing for Barack Obama, having him cry. If that's what you all want, then you go and look at it on YouTube. It ain't doing shit for me, and it's not going to do shit for you. What substantial is that? How's it going to help your children? What is having a party for Barack Obama in the White House? How did that benefit our court system that's in shambles in America right now? Our overall court system. Affirmative action now is being placed with other minority groups, something that was set up for blacks that we could no longer get. That's why reparations is. Say what you want about Umar Johnson, about being a fraud and so forth, but you know what? When he said that it was used, the LGBT community or the so-called LGBT rights are taking over the African-American struggle, and you look at that time frame he talked about in the early 1970s, that was the time when the Black Panther Party was neutralized by COINTELPRO. That was the time when we had these killings of all of these kids on college campuses, like at Southern University, Brown and Smith. You had, that's one example. It makes sense to me. And the fact that no study was done. No study was done. I want you to understand this. They passed this without a study. The Congressional Research Services. I'm going to give you the link. The sponsor of this bill was Judy Chu from California, Democrat, introduced on June 18, 2019. The committees, House and Ways and Means. The reports, H Report 116-161. Latest action, Senate 0725, 2019, received in the Senate. They're removing the terms husband and wife. Like right now, I know for a fact on marriage certificates in the parish, they've actually, here in Louisiana, they don't list husband and wife anymore. It's party A and party B. That sounds like Cardi B. No, it ain't a disbelief to me, brother. That's Democrats for you. But they want you, people want you to support them, especially these old Negroes that we got on these radio shows tapping and dancing and telling jokes while our kids are suffering on the street. And I'm not saying we can't party, but they want you blindly to support the Democratic Party when they sponsor shit like this. And they won't do any. And what makes me upset is the fact that the double standards that you see take place, that you tell us that African Americans should never get reparations. You shouldn't get any money. We had the members of the Democratic Party saying, well, like Elizabeth Warren saying that, oh no, I think we could do other ways. Bernie Sanders is talking about, well, there are other things we could do. We could put it in our community, reform the criminal justice system and reform the black colleges and universities. Elizabeth Warren talked about that last night as well. That's all fine and dandy, but you cut the check. If you can cut the check with this and you guys are sponsoring it, damn it, do it for us. Do I think it was spiteful? I don't know about it being spiteful. I think it was just dumb. It certainly is a slap in the face to the black community. That you can get quote unquote reparations. You can amend a tax bill. Just read it. There hasn't even been a study on reparations and the sponsored by Congress for blacks in this country. And yes, I am upset about it. And you all should be upset too, because this affects us. This coming election, I'm going to tell you flat out, I don't want to hear anything from Tom Joyner's radio show, if it still comes on. I don't want to hear anything from Roly Poly. I don't want to hear anything from Joy Reid or Tamron Hall or Al Sharpton, any of these old Negroes that are any other old Negroes that are on these plantations for the Democratic Party that don't hold them to task for this. What's up, Regina? I want y'all just read it. I'm looking at it. I'm gonna post the article. Let me put it in the chat box. Hold on. Just read this. This is Life Site News. Now, by the way, Apple has removed Life Site News from their Apple News app and without explanation, but it's clear because Life Site News is a Catholic newspaper. It's actually based in Canada, where, of course, the freedom of speech doesn't really apply like it does. But they took them off, obviously, because of some gay thing. Because Life Site News, they always report, if you want to use the term right wing, I guess you could say that, but it is conservative. It is Christian based, so they don't approve of abortion and contraception and same sex, quote unquote, marriage and so forth. So they've actually censored them. And, I don't want to get into the whole LGBT agenda and so forth, although, this is kind of this is part of it. If you don't think it doesn't exist, think again. And this is more reason, guys, why we need the ADOS movement. This is more reason why we can't stop asking for reparations. We need to take it. And the best way you can take it, if you're going to vote, you vote locally. You vote for your judges because you're more impacted by them. You vote for your DAs. You put money into their campaigns. And go to some of these rallies. They can't say that out loud. Oh, I'm going to give you a pass and so forth. I'll help you out. But they're going to remember, oh, he came to my rally. Oh, he gave me $200 or helped me with my campaign. Okay, cool. That's stuff what we need to do. Your city council. But for president, there's no damn way I would vote for Elizabeth Warren or even Bernie. Now, this was in the Senate. This was in the Representatives, not the House of Representatives, not the Senate. So they're senators. But I know that Bernie Sanders, openly supports, LGBTQ rights. I know Elizabeth Warren is spearheading a counterpart, and I'm pretty sure Bernie would not oppose that. But if he does that, and we see that, and he raises no objection, and we see that with him opposing reparations for us, cash payments for blacks, but supporting cash payments for homosexual groups, to homosexual, quote unquote, married couples to get reparations, then we know what the game is. Same thing with Elizabeth Warren. When that brother was in her face asking her about cutting a check, and she had no idea what he was talking about. She has no problem cutting this. These Negroes that are in the Congressional Black Caucus, that your time is up. That includes you, even John Lewis and Elijah Cummings. Maxine Waters, Barbara Lee Jackson, all of you. If you haven't done anything for us, let's look at your record. Career politicians. You stand in there, you get elected over and over again, and you take the black community for granted. You don't demand anything for us. You don't put on anything except maybe to do a little song and dance and come out and give a little nice speech maybe at a barbecue or church or at church, because people are susceptible when you go to church to try and get their votes, but you don't offer anything. You just smile and wear the right tie. That's what Obama did. I live in New Orleans, Louisiana, and in our area, New Orleans East, it's while it's a very gorgeous area, it's very underdeveloped. It's been abandoned in most parts. since Katrina. The city has abandoned it, and these people don't do anything for us. And you know what? I'm gonna vote their ass out. I'm not voting for them. Do not vote for them. You're not gonna offer my area nothing, but you want to put. You had an opportunity to put. And I'm sorry if I'm rambling, but I'll never forget there was an opportunity to put a Bass Pro Shop out here in my area in New Orleans East, but they elected not to. The mayor at the time, Landrew, he tried to keep it from coming from this to this area and go downtown by the river, where they can't even launch boats. But they want you to show up and vote for them because you just don't want Trump. You know what? I mean, I don't like Donald Trump personally, but you know what? Maybe having him as president again for another term might be the cause, especially if we don't show up like we did last time and we did vote, because that's a vote of no confidence. Like Jesse Ventura said, he would prefer if people voted, but if there would be on the ballot, no choice or none of the above, because it's a vote of confidence. Because many of these policies, they are backed by these lobbies and they promote their interests, just like what you see with the LGBTQ community, or if you see even
the video with that black
the Hispanic community, they'll stand by them. They'll stand by them, support their businesses, support their struggle, but when we can't get ours, they create these super PACs. There's no need for, what I think it is too, Squeaky G, if you're still there, what I think it is that they've realized there's no need for the black community at this point because they have the gay, even though, believe it or not, the LGBTQ community only makes up less than 3% of the population. But, of course, they're also white. Most of them in that community are predominantly white. They're female, which, of course, is the majority of them in America. And they have money to spend. There's a reason why your Congressional Black Caucus, brothers and sisters, focuses on the dreamers more than they focus on the reason why they'll focus on LGBTQ, but won't focus on reparations for you. This is hard. This is upsetting. And I don't know if anybody's going to get mad or offended by what I say. Tough. Go find another channel and look at it. It ain't meant for you. This is meant for intelligent people, for that matter. But specifically, our black brothers and sisters, when we talk about reparations and we see things like this is what this upsets me, especially over last month. And since these presidential campaigns have been kicking off, they've been talking about how black people shouldn't get cash payments. I just saw an article from a Gallup poll, courtesy of The Grill, where they're talking about 67% of Americans don't believe blacks should get reparations. Of course, you got to question who did the polling. I'm going to put it in the chat box here. So how does that happen? But how does you say no to one group? How fair is it? You say no to one group, but approve one for another. We can be angry, guys, but it's the time for action. Get registered to vote. Vote these people out. Vote these reps out of Congress. Get involved in your local communities, in your local areas. See who the candidates are running for judge, mayor, and council person, and vote them out too. Vote them in if they're going to do something for you, and vote them out if they're not. If they're not doing anything and they've just been sitting and they've been sitting there on their asses for the last 4 or 5 years and haven't given you anything, then guess what? You give them something. Yeah, man, but this frustrates me. I can't keep going further, guys. I've been talking for 30 minutes, but keep it in mind, 2020, the people that supported this, they come for you for president, tell them no tangibles, no vote. And I mean that. Dr. King fought for black people to vote, and so did our other ancestors, but for the right to vote, but not for the right to be taken for granted either. There was a lot of things Dr. King fought for, and even in the last part of years of his life, he fought to improve economics for blacks in America. He even fought for reparations in his last year. There are clips on YouTube of Dr. King talking about cutting the check, America. It's time for us to get the check. You can't tell a man to pull up by his bootstraps when you took his shoes and forced him to walk barefoot. This is unbelievable, guys. I'm going to enjoy my weekend and probably see Hobbs and Shaw. I don't know. May find a date. Probably go hit the gym in a second, guys, get this energy out. But thank you all for joining me. Leave a comment. Be respectful. If you don't like what I said, tough, find another channel. But I appreciate everyone that's been supporting me, that likes the show. Please donate. I have Cash App. I also have Google Pay. It's in the description. Thank you, guys. Squeaky G, see you next time. Sister Regina, I see you. Who else was here today? Let me see. Think Tank, yeah, brother Think Tank. And who else is watching? Y'all can leave a comment, guys. Yeah, Regina, Sister Regina. All right. Yeah, please donate and subscribe. We're gonna do something else too. A lot's been going on, guys. I did hear too that Tariq Nasheed was banned from Britain. So that when he was traveling out of Los Angeles airport, that tells you something. But I also read that ASAP Rocky was released from prison in Sweden. So that might even be a tie-in. So told ASAP Rocky to get home as soon as possible. Yeah. If I was ASAP, I would do that. But, you know, ASAP was the one that even made those comments about, you know, because I have to always do this. So, you know, he says he's on that coon train. But maybe ASAP can amend his tax return since he wear all them dresses. That's the article too on ASAP Rocky. But yeah, guys, let me get out of here. Y'all have a good one, okay? Thanks. Peace. Love you.